Guys, after celebrating my birthday this weekend and suffering through several internet issues, now I've got them rectified. Guys, I'm going to give you my final thoughts uh, on the Mike Tyson Jake Paul event, as well as the Latino night from Riyadh season, and let you know who the big winners were, as well as the big losers for the entire weekend. All this and more on the latest edition of War Week Boxing Chats.
Affordable Value presents Big Time Boxing USA on War of Week Radio.
Guys, welcome. Happy Monday to all of you guys. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Well, I hope you had a better weekend than Mike Tyson, although it's difficult to feel bad for him because he just made $20 million. Yeah. Once again, guys, we went over the entire purse last week when I went live with Adam Lopez and G Funky. And I'll go over that again, guys, because it's pretty shocking. Mike Tyson, Jake Paul each made $20 million from Netflix, not including what they made from the live gate, which was over $17 million and 72,000 participants and onlookers packed the house at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Wow. And once again, we told you guys this was going to be the biggest boxing event. And once again, guys, this is why we do this program, because we've been in this business for such a long time. Everyone on this show, and which, once again, later on, guys, we're going to be featuring James Gogi. He had a big fight this past weekend, and it was on DAZN. I hope you guys got a chance to watch it. He's going to talk about it. Rick Laser, Ronnie Shields, Iceman John Skelly, Thomas Triber, G Funky, my brother James from the Boxing Source. We've all been in this business for a minute, and we try to prepare you guys for the road ahead and to give you guys a basic understanding as to why certain things happen and why they don't. And we told you guys this a long time ago when this fight was first announced, that this would proved to be boxing's greatest blessing or their greatest curse. And I'm sure you guys all found out which one that was on Friday evening. Jeez. And I was fearing the worst, guys, when I saw how they were promoting this event, right? Making Mike Tyson look like the killer in the gym, right? Doing pads, and everyone, jumped on the bandwagon, caught fire. The event caught fire. The week of the event, tickets just were flying out of the box office. Everyone wanted to see history, wanted to get that piece of Mike Tyson live. Oh, boy. And I was like, you know what? They're setting us up for the fall. Everyone in the business, in the American market. they're setting boxing up for the fall. And I said, you know, if Jake Paul were smart, he would take a dive. He would actually let Tyson punch him right in the chin and go down like a sack of potatoes. And it would be the best thing for boxing, the business. But yeah, but that, and once again, that I knew that wasn't going to happen. And guys, look, regardless of all the nonsense that's being spewed on the internet at this time, all of the scripted nonsense, and I'm going to show you a couple things. But guys, this is the popular sentiment from the mainstream casual and mainstream fans, right? I'm going to share this with you guys. This was on something as mainstream as The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, right? Excuse me, guys. My allergies are killing me. But I'm going to share this with you guys, and this is the ongoing sentiment. Let me know when you guys can see this, right? Chihuahua. Yeah, really frustrating. But here, check this out, guys. So, guys, there it is. That's how everyone is viewing the sport of boxing at this time. Yeah. And, guys, before we move forward, I want to welcome some of our dear friends in the chat. Treetop, welcome to the show, my friend. Good to see you, my brother. Perro. Yeah, they really banked, guys. And we'll talk about the aftermath more and what's the future for both Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, everyone on the undercard of the Tyson Paul event. We're going to go through Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, even though I don't promote or even really talk about women's boxing, but this is important, and I need to address this, right? We're also going to talk about my brother Mario Barrios hanging on to his major world title. Once again, I stated that this was a terrible style matchup, right? We'll talk about all of that versus my brother Abel Ramos as well. Yeah, we'll talk about also Shushu Carrington, and then we're going to focus. That's right, Treetop. We are going to focus on Zurdo Ramirez. Ooh, putting on a spectacular performance. Unfortunately, it wasn't in front of 60 million worldwide subscribers. Yeah, like the farce was, right? That's a problem. So, yeah, I was going to talk about the purses, right? Excuse me. Like, once again, the main event, they both made $20 million. Amanda Serrano makes an historic female purse of $6 million, guys. $6 million. Yeah, you're not hearing things. $6 million. Katie Taylor was the big winner, though, even though not critically, but financially. Oh boy, she took home $7 million. My brother my brother Mario Barrios made a career high payday of $3 million. And Abel Ramos took home $2 million. Yeah. And once again, guys, this is why I've been stating that Netflix, if they get involved with boxing and clean up their terrible buffering issues. Now, once again, guys, they were anticipating a live audience of 40 million. It's far surpassed that, guys. And this is why I was saying this could be the future of combat sports and boxing. It could prove to be the savior of boxing in America if this fight sizzles. Well, guess what? It didn't. And the buffering issues were really irritating. Although I have to say personally, it didn't buffer once. Not for me. I saw the whole thing. glitch-free. Saw the whole sad state of affairs glitch-free. But yeah, here, like, do the math, guys. These guys have deep pockets. Once again, over 280 million subscribers worldwide. Multiply that by, it's different from market to market. It's about, what, $12 here a month? And it's in other markets. So you talk about an average subscription price of $7 per month, right? Worldwide. Multiply that by 280 million. That's how much they make per month, not per year, per month. So they're making billions of dollars on this. They've got money to spend. Look, if they can pay tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars for original programming that sucks, surely they can afford boxing's best product. But they have to get the glitches and the buffering issues rectified. But guys, if you want to save boxing in the American market, and once again, that whose bright idea was it to have Rosie Perez on the broadcast? Now that's thinking outside the box, but not from someone who actually has done this before. It was a terrible idea, and she brought nothing to the broadcast. It was terrible. And obviously, everyone's remarking about Mike Tyson showing us his nalgas backstage. I'm like, yeah, that's what he does. Jeez, guys. And look, this is a problem. When you need guys who have done this before. Like they should get someone like Steven Espinoza. He doesn't have the greatest production, but it's still better than what we saw on Friday night. Lou DiBella, he's a former president of HBO Sports. He could do a great job. It's all about presentation and production, guys. And I experienced something like this a couple of years ago. We did a pay-per-view, and I was the lead commentator. And it was a horror show. It was Mickey Mouse. The promoter had a bright idea of getting a movie director to organize and stage the production for the pay-per-view event. And he had no idea what he was doing. Didn't know shit about boxing. Didn't know how to run this. And it was a nightmare. As we saw on Friday. Pathetic. But guys, I want to get to this real quick, and I'll get this out of the way. Anyone who thinks Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul was scripted is an idiot. And I knew that this was going to be, if it played out the way I thought it would, and it did. Almost. I thought Mike Tyson was going to quit on his stool after round 4. Instead, he showed the heart of a former champion, a heart of a legend, and he sucked it up, and he went through with the fight, and that's in large part due to Jake Paul admitting post-fight that he carried Mike Tyson, and you could easily see that he did. And for that, and for some bogus internet post, and once again, it's already proven to be fraudulent, that it was a scripted fight. That's bullshit, guys. And Jake Paul isn't the first fighter ever to carry an opponent. Guys, most trainers. Oh, wait a minute. No. He gave him a kiss because that was his son interviewing him, Treetop. That was his son. But Mike Tyson doesn't wear chones. He just wears a jockstrap under his trunks. Everyone in the business knows that. Unfortunately, when you don't know shit about this business, you don't know. But that's what I'm saying. Everyone knows that Mike Tyson doesn't wear underwear or boxer shorts or anything under his trunks. Doesn't wear socks either. Everyone in the business knows this. And they let his son, they thought it would be fun if they had his son doing some of the interviews, right? And that was his son. That's why he gave him a kiss. No ritual, dude. Come on. Stop believing that crap. So anyway, guys, yeah. But look, Jake Paul's not the first fighter to carry an opponent. Most knowledgeable trainers seem to believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that Canelo has carried his last 3 opponents. Especially Jaime Munguia. Once again, Canelo's already made it clear he doesn't prefer to fight Mexican fighters. He doesn't want to make an example out of him. He doesn't want to ruin a young prospect's career. And that's what he did with Jaime Munguia. A lot of very knowledgeable fight people seem to think that Canelo Alvarez carried Jaime Munguia and didn't want to ruin his career. Knocked him down, showed him who was boss in the ring, and yeah, made it a very easy competitive sparring session in the back half of the fight. Never putting his foot on the gas to get his opponent out of there. And that seemed to be the case against Gennady Golovkin. And it seemed to be the case against Edgar Berlanga. Hey, G Funky, welcome to the show, sir. Yeah, my apologies, guys. And look, anyone who has been trying to get hold of me via phone, my apologies. You on Instagram? So my apologies, guys. Look, anyone who's trying to, sorry, some people were trying to talk to me while I'm live. Jeez. But anyone's been trying to get a hold of me on my phone. I always get my exercise in at night, so I use my flashlight on my phone. And as I was trying to turn my flashlight on, it dropped. And with my hair and luck, yeah, it broke. So my apologies, guys. It's in the mail. T-Bubble has assured me that I'm getting my replacement in a brand new phone tomorrow. So yeah, there it is. So my apologies, G Funky. God bless you, my friend. And but look, Jake Paul, he did the right thing with the respect for Mike Tyson. Dude, who would have, like, they're complaining about him carrying Mike Tyson, but what would the backlash be if he actually put his foot on the gas and tried to make an example out of a legend? It was a no-win scenario for Jake Paul. Oh, well, he's a terrible fighter, man. Oh, look at him, man. He didn't even look good against that old man. Yeah, that's why. That's why he carried him. And it was obvious after round 4. He could have easily put him on his ass and put his foot on the gas and beat him up. But did anyone want to see that? No. So, guys, once again, hopefully we've seen, and then post-fight, Jake Paul, yeah, he knew, yeah, he didn't even bother calling out Canelo Alvarez like he stated he would. Yeah, he thought the wiser. It was a huge event. And boxing, the entire business in the American market, are the big losers this weekend. Who are the big winners? Well, the UFC. For decades, they've been trying to villainize and condemn boxing as a dying or dead sport. And guys, we may have put the nail in the coffin in the American market. We told you that this could either be great for the sport, the health of the sport, or catastrophic. Yeah, it's catastrophic. As a result, How many mainstream and casual fans tuned into that brilliant and all-round entertaining fight card in Saudi Arabia the following day? 0%, guys. Miserable, and they missed out. Guys, we need casual and mainstream fans to survive. Without their participation or interest, our sport, guys, ceases to exist. Yeah. If you saw him, and even if you compare the way he looked 4 years ago, right? Against Roy Jones. Yeah, he looked much better. But look, in my opinion, they should have canceled this event altogether. Because most people do, who have been, once again, most people in this business, they knew that, and this is why I was so sure that he wouldn't look good. And this was potentially catastrophic for the business. Because they knew he suffered sepsis because of a terrible bleeding ulcer. Because of some of the medication he was taking for a sciatic nerve, it had a negative reaction and caused like 4 or 5 bleeding ulcers in his stomach. That's why the fight was initially canceled. And then they rescheduled it, and I was shocked. I didn't think they were going to go through with it. So I knew Tyson wasn't going to look good. I knew he wasn't going to be able to train. That's why I was like, oh my gosh, look at the way they're promoting this. Like he's been in the gym the entire. No, he's been recovering the entire time. I was actually very surprised that they went through with this event, and they shouldn't have. But there was so much interest and so much money involved that they kind of felt backed into a corner. Well, we got to go through with this now. Oh boy. And they sold this event like, oh, okay, Mike Tyson, and we're going to see the Mike Tyson. No, you were going to see an old, beat up, old man with health issues. I knew it. Now look at the aftermath. Once again, UFC are the big winners. They had their heavyweight legend, John Jones, turning back the clock, still looking dominant. And they had Donald Trump show up at the event with Elon Musk and his entire team. Yeah. Did he show up to Mike Tyson? Hell no. So, guys, UFC might have put the dagger in big-time boxing in the American market. It's terrible. Now, guys, what are your final thoughts on this? To be honest with you, I hate this. I hate when, once again, guys, we need the casual and mainstream fans. Because let's just face it, guys, most diehard fans of boxing, they're stealing pretty much most events. And once again, I'm not referring to you guys. But numbers don't lie. And the overwhelming, according to statistics and numbers, an overwhelming majority of diehard fans are no longer financially supporting their favorite pastime. So the real bosses of boxing, you could say, the ones that determine whether or not a big-time pay-per-view event is a success, are the mainstream and casuals. We depend on their involvement. So if you guys really want to remain the real bosses of boxing, go out and be the ambassadors of the sport online. Defend rather than condemning your favorite pastime. Tell them the reality of things. Guys, Tyson doesn't stand a chance. Oh, this is the fight you should watch, guys. We told you guys that Zurdo Ramirez versus Chris William Smith was going to be a fight of the year candidate. And it sure played out that way. we'll get into that in a second, guys. I just need to finish up with Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Now, guys, what plagued this fight? Once again, I'm really not interested in female boxing, but there was something really important that happened. And it was on display in front of 60 million worldwide. The fight was really competitive and a great fight until she got cut over the eye. Terrible cut from a headbutt. So I'm going to talk with several people, including Iceman Scully and my brother Russ Amber, owner, CEO of Rival Products, right? Rival Gear. And we're going to see about possibly making a prototype for a headgear that you can wear in live fights, not just in sparring. One that doesn't hinder your vision, but protects your head above the eyes, top of your head, so a Tim Tszyu Fundora event doesn't happen. And also, more importantly, the back of your head, so we don't experience a Pritchard Cologne. So I'm going to be working on that with my brother Russ Amber and see if we can come up with a prototype and see if it's feasible and try it out and see if fighters approve of it. Because the last thing we want is another big-time fight being ruined by a cut over the eye. Look at Philip Ergovich. He's now pretty much retired because of the Daniel Dubois fight. He is sick of it. He's like, you know what? I waited so long to get my opportunity to fight for the IBF, and now this happens. Daniel Dynamite Dubois busts me up with the top of his head, and I can't continue? Treetop says, did you see Eddie Hearn and MVP promoter argue? Well, yeah, of course. They were arguing because of the lawsuit, and Jake Paul should know better. So if you have a civil suit against somebody, you can't talk about it. You can't argue with them. That's considered harassment. And Eddie Hearn should know better. He's been in enough lawsuits. That's harassment for any civil suit. They're just stupid people, man. Stupid people. Or maybe they're going to settle. Who knows? Who cares? Who the hell cares? But I know Eddie Hearn promotes Katie Taylor. But why the hell was he even there? Anyway, Eddie Hearn loves to stick his nose in everyone's business. He's such an egocentric piece of shit. And he's proven to be absolutely terrible for the sport in the U.S. market. Chingao, man. Anyway, I don't even want to talk. Oh, yeah, it was defamation. Now it's a defamation suit. Because after the first Katie Taylor-Amanda Serrano fight, he publicly stated several times on several different outlets that Eddie Hearn paid off two of the judges. He said Amanda Serrano his fighter, easily won that fight, clearly. He said, yeah, that's Eddie Hearn's handiwork. Eddie Hearn took exception and filed a lawsuit for $100 million for defamation and slander. So that's what that's all about. I mean, really, the nerve of this guy, thinking he can reinvent the wheel, coming into a sport that he knows nothing about. And then he accuses me in front of many mainstream outlets that I rigged a fight and he wants to be involved with boxing. Well, he should know that you cannot say that without consequence to a mainstream and casual marketplace that, let's just face it, really. I mean, let's just be honest. They don't know shite about boxing, right? Yeah, and you know what? Eddie Hearn is justified. Jake Paul should know better. Obviously, he doesn't. Now, once again, man, Jake Paul, he's proven to be a force. Being one of the biggest attractions and being one of the best promoters in boxing at this point. But he has to understand. And you know what? And this is the problem I have with our beloved boxing business. You've got thousands of sole proprietors making up this sport, contributing to the sport. And none of them have the best interests of the sport's health. It's like everyone is doing what's best for them. And I'm sick of it, really. And honestly, I hope Turki Al-Sheikh takes over boxing. Because what we saw on Saturday was a brilliant effort from everyone involved. Guys, I'm going to start talking about this. And I know I stated I was going to talk about my brother Mario Vargas and his close call with Abel Ramos. And look, I'll just say this. The only reason why Mario didn't get knocked the F out was because, and Bob Santos told me this is the reason why they felt good about their chances going into this. Because I told him, I said, this is not a good style matchup. This is why would you pick on this guy? He's one of the hardest punchers in the division. And this is a terrible style matchup for Mario, who depends on keeping his opponents from mid to long range. He said, one, Joseph, it's the activity. Two, he's going to have a lot of ring rust. And he's been in a lot of wars. We feel like we're catching him at the right time. Well, it almost blew up in their face. And the only reason why it was scored a draw is because Mario Vargas Abel Ramos, in the first 3 or 4 rounds, showed terrible ring rust. His timing was off. He couldn't cut off the ring like he usually does. He looked tentative. Looked like he couldn't pull the trigger. And then he started to get his feet underneath him. Started to find his range. And boom, he almost knocked out Mario in the 6th round. That honestly, I thought it was, in my opinion, I thought both fighters did their best to salvage that farce of a fight card. No offense to a guy like Shushu Carrington who did his job, right? He looked great against an undefeated opponent. But I thought Mario and Abel did a great job in sustaining and keeping everyone interested. Because let's just face it, that production and that fight card was absolutely abysmal. And good Lord, why did they hire Mauro Ranallo? That guy's terrible. Ugh. And why on earth did they hire Rosie Perez? Anyway, that's the last I'm going to say about this, guys. Your thoughts on the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, and what do you think the long-term effects and the consequences going to be on the health of boxing in the American market? I think it's going to prove to be catastrophic. I will say this, though, about Mauro Ranallo. I actually enjoyed him doing the Italian translation during the Lucas Batti Armando Casamonica fight. That was interesting. And then that was the most I can say about as far as compliments. Danny Drew, welcome to the show, sir. Yeah. Punk Paul needs to show some sack. Quit fighting pensioners fight Jayapataya. Well, you already know that that's not going to happen. He is a novice compared to Jayapataya and still learning on the job. Most guys who have only been boxing, like seriously training for 3 or 4 years, yeah, they're still amateurs. So even to compare that or even mention that, that's ridiculous, Danny. And you know that, brother. But yeah, it's a fun thought. But look, it was a good idea, and it raised a lot of awareness and attention to our beloved boxing. Some sorely needed attention. But look, it just wasn't realistic, guys. Mike Tyson is an old man with a lot of health issues. And yes, Rosie brought nothing to the broadcast team. It was miserable. And her voice isn't exactly the most pleasing to listen to, right? You wanted you to give him all the money, Eddie. She was miserable, dude. Oh, it sounded like a squeaky Puerto Rican Speedy Gonzalez. Is what it sounded like. Chingao. Miserable. I'm surprised she's not on The View. That's where she belongs. If she wants to air out her personal opinions live in front of a big audience, go join The View with Whoopi Goldberg or whomever. That's where she belongs. Guys, look, I do have to mention this before we move forward because there's so much. And I'm going to be on for a good minute, right? Now, post-fight, Crawford put out this tweet. He said this: I think I can do 90,000 at Memorial Stadium, which is the home of the Cornhuskers in Lincoln, Nebraska, the capital. I think I'm going to go on and make history just to make some of y'all mad because y'all be hating. What's up, UN Lincoln and at Huskers? Further proving my point that some fighters, once again, it's a fine line, guys, between a fighter has to be brimming with confidence just to get in the ring. And my hat's off to him. It's not easy. Once again, this is why I don't like seeing women in boxing, because you can play basketball, you can play soccer or football, right? But you can't play boxing. And Amanda Serrano was just reminded of that. I don't like seeing it. But it's a brutal sport, guys. And so my hat's off to anyone who steps foot in the ring. But there's a very fine line between confidence and delusional arrogance. And unfortunately, he's surrounded with guys blowing smoke up his ass 24/7, telling him that he's one of the biggest draws in boxing. Guys, the business doesn't work that way. Just because you are one of the best fighters in boxing, if not the best, doesn't equate to being the biggest attraction. Look at Jake Paul. Perfect example. It's just like the music business. Just because you're one of the best musicians and one of the best bands, technically, in the world, doesn't equate. In fact, most of the time, it doesn't equate to you being a big-time mainstream and casual attraction. In fact, it's usually quite the contrary. Look at Bad Bunny. Look at Taylor Swift. Can you even call them musicians? No. They're the Jake Pauls of the music world. And that's a huge problem in boxing. It's no longer a sport, guys. This is why I always profess the business. And this is why I call it the business of boxing, not the sport. It stopped being a sport when we got more than one sanctioning organization. When we got the IBF especially, that's when it stopped officially becoming a sport. And you had different titles, different champions. So you could have a champion in the IBF avoiding the other best guys in the division. It's important that you guys realize that. It became a business first and foremost after that. That's a sad state of affairs, guys. But look, Crawford, he's become delusional. Now, realistically, guys, I want to hear what you guys think. Who is he going to fight to put in 90,000 in Lincoln, Nebraska? I understand everyone loves him in Nebraska, and he is by far the most famous and most prolific fighter to come out of Nebraska. I understand that. But 90,000? As Jake Paul just proved, it takes an attractive dance partner to attract that many eyeballs to your product. And especially when you're a non-ticket seller like Terrence Crawford. So who could he possibly face that would attract the interest of 90,000 fans? You could call up Elon Musk and it still wouldn't make a difference, Treetop. Crawford is just, once again, it kills him that he's not in the ring and people aren't talking about him. Like he says, well, I'll read it again. I think I can do 90,000 at Memorial Stadium. I think I'm going to go on and make history just to make some of y'all mad because y'all be hating. What's up, Lincoln? What's up, Huskers? That was yesterday. I'm sitting at the table with the high individuals. He's delusional. And this is why no promoter wants to work with him. And Turkey Al-Sheikh is finding a hard time pairing him up with anybody that's going to justify the kind of purses that he's requesting. So in my opinion, I'll be very surprised. I'll be very surprised if he ever fights again. Canelo's not interested. And honestly, after seeing that event, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, I don't think anyone's interested. And seeing Canelo Charlo, I don't think anyone is interested in seeing that fight, really. And if we put that fight on, and if it's a real snoozer again, in which Terrence Crawford is just looking to survive and go the distance like Charlo, how do you think that's going to look for boxing? Another nail in the coffin, guys. We don't need any more of that shit. Chingao. I know, Treetop. And I stated this during the belabored year-and-a-half-long negotiation with Errol Spence and Showtime. And everyone was calling me a hater when I stated this. And I'm like, look, man, I don't think like fans do. I wish I did. Boxing would probably be a lot more fun for me if I did. But I don't, and I haven't in over 2 decades. So it's like, look, guys, I know this to be true. Crawford is a delusional pain in the ass, and no one wants to work with him. He's a pain in the ass that demands too much money. And he's putting every network that he works with and promoter in a position where they lose their ass. Just ask Turkey Al-Sheikh how much money he lost on Terrence Crawford's event in LA. I was told it was close to $20 million. Shit. So now, guys, we're going to take a 1-minute intermission, and we're going to talk about the main event of this broadcast, and that is the brilliant presentation by Riyadh Season, Turkey Al Sheikh, Golden Boy Promotions, Latino Night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And we are going to focus on Golden Boy's big stars. And boy, I tell you what, the future looks really bright for one Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. But guys, we're going to take a brief pause for a minute. And I'm going to advertise my new channel, God's Perfect Love. And guys, I want to thank all of you for already in the 2.5 months that I've had this channel. I've now exceeded over 800 subscribers. So thank you guys for helping out and being a part of my journey in becoming a better Christian and learning more about the Holy Trinity and walking in spirit every day.
Exposing the hidden strength in Scripture. Let's uncover the healing power of God's Word. The Bible is more than just a book. It's a source of healing and hope. Deuteronomy 32:39 reminds us that God is the ultimate healer. I wound and I heal, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. When life brings tears and pain, remember 2 Kings 25, where God says, I have heard your prayer. I have seen your tears. Indeed, I will heal you. In 2 Chronicles 7:14, God promises, if my people humble themselves, pray, and seek my face, I will forgive their sin and heal their land. Trust in His word, seek His presence, and let His healing touch transform your life. Open your heart and let the power of Scripture bring you peace and restoration.
Thank you guys once again for helping me get past 800 subscribers in just 2.5 months. So thank you guys. And if you haven't already subscribed, the address on YouTube is on the ticker right there below the screen. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Look, hold on. Honker Mustang, welcome to the show, man. It's good to see you, brother. He said, Joseph, most of the fights were good, but I can't say it was brilliant when the small arena was empty for most of the night. What was the deal with that? Let's see, Treetop. Latino night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Think about that for a moment. I stated this once again, guys. We always stress the business of boxing, and Don Chargan taught me as a promoter. Great matchups don't equate to a great event if it's not in the right venue. Why the hell was Latino night in Saudi Arabia, the Middle East? Yeah. Tell me what sense that makes. This fight card would have sizzled in Southern California or in Texas, in San Antonio. Come on now. Who the hell knew who William Zepeda was or Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez was in Saudi Arabia? No one. First of all of those guys on that card, they're not big ticket sellers. They're great fighters and they're fun to watch. They always produce entertaining fights. But that's why you had to put them all on one card, to try and attract someone. Because none of these guys are big ticket sellers. Oscar Collazo, man, what a great performance in stopping a customarily durable guy, becoming a unified champion at strawweight. Brilliant performance. Phew. Yeah, he is a real player, man. But he can't sell tickets. William Zepeda. Oh, boy. And once again, we told you before that fight happened, this was brilliant matchmaking. Before you stick, hold on. Let me just add to one of the big losers of this weekend was Shakur Stevenson. Because Shakur now, may have missed out on that big career high payday on February 22nd. Because if I'm Golden Boy Promotions, after seeing that, and they were very smart in putting him in with a guy like Tevin Farmer, who they knew couldn't knock him out, but would potentially stylistically give him a lot of problems. And they found out in a very resounding manner that William Zepeda is nowhere near ready for a sharpshooter and an elite level talent like Shakur Stevenson. And I stated this before the show. I said, look, guys, if you want my opinion, everything I see in the defensive liabilities of William Zepeda, he has the style to bring out the best in Shakur Stevenson, to make him look like Floyd Mayweather Jr. Now, do you guys believe me? Yeah, William Zepeda, they were really intelligent in putting him in this litmus test before Shakur Stevenson. Now, it's back to the drawing board. You know what you need to work on. You know what you need to work on. So if you still want to insist on building a Shakur Stevenson fight, which I wouldn't do it, what I would do, I'd put him in against Floyd Schofield first. Sink or swim, guys. I would put him in there with Floyd Schofield. And, the cream will rise. But no more fucking around. If you're Golden Boy, you've got to be a little concerned with both of your expensive prospects. Because both of them showed resilience. Both of them showed a lot of heart in their last fights. But both of them exposed a lot of deficiencies and liabilities. So if I'm Golden Boy, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and say, this is it, guys. Before we invest millions in your careers, respectively, you're going to have to fine-tune things, and this is going to be a sink or swim fight. Loser goes home. The next one advances to a big fight with Shakur Stevenson. That's what I would do. Look, Zepeda's never had one-punch knockout power. He's had that overwhelming accumulation of punches and a great gas tank. In my opinion, Team Panda and William Zepeda didn't go to Saudi Arabia soon enough. And in my opinion, the jet lag kicked their fucking ass. Guys, if you're going to go to Saudi Arabia and fight, you should do what Arthur Beterbiev did. Show up 3 weeks before the event and let your body get adjusted to the time. Because that, in my opinion, that really affected him. But I tell you what, credit to Tevin Farmer for letting it all hang out he viewed this the proper way, right? He viewed this as, well, they're overlooking me. They think they're going to make an example out of me, and this is my last chance for boxing glory. And I'm going to let it all hang out. And I'm going to properly prepare for this and treat this like this is my last call. Boy, and he did it. Credit to him, man. He showed a warrior's heart. And he gave William Zepeda all kinds of problems stylistically. And he hurt him. Dropped him in, was the 4th round? Yeah. Dropped him in the 4th. But that conditioning of William Zepeda, training in the high altitude of the Mexican mountains, right? That really pulled him across the finish line, and that's what won him the fight. Because let's just face it, that fight could have easily gone either way if he didn't have that engine or gas tank. Hey, my brother Big Luke. And Big Luke, I just wanted to tell you guys, Big Luke, thank you, brother. I just got your contribution and donation to the Roshi Tour 2025 fund. Thank you, brother, for the very generous donation. And thank you for supporting my son's band. God bless you, brother. And you're going to have a t-shirt or a CD in the mail. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that, man. And anyone else who wants to contribute to my son's Roshi 2025 tour, you can visit Cash App War a Week. The address on Cash App is on the ticker. But thank you, Big Luke. I love you, man. God bless you, brother. And thank you for supporting my son's band. But going back to that, that's the only thing. His conditioning is the only thing that pulled him across the finish line and won him that fight. Because he was, all of his defensive liabilities were exposed. And Zepeda has never had, but to answer your question, Treetop, Zepeda's never had one-punch knockout power. He's not a guy like Tank Davis. It's always been that accumulated effort, like his stablemate, Subriel Matias from Puerto Rico. He trains with the same trainer, Panda, Coach Panda. And they're like a machine gun. They're going to make it a numbers game. And they're going to see if you have the conditioning to match them punch for punch. Thoughts on Duarte's big victory over Akhmedov? Honestly, I loved that fight. I thought it was great. And yes, I thought Akhmedov won, landing the more accurate and consequential punches. But once again, that's a fight, admittedly, once again, that could have gone either way. But I thought he lost. I thought Akhmedov won 6 rounds to 4. But it's a great fight. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. This time in America. Damn it. Chingao. Latino night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Come on, guys. You have to understand the irony of that. How many Mexicanos were in Saudi Arabia that night cheering for their guys with the mariachis and everything? Although I love the fanfare, I love the pageantry. It made me proud to be a Mexicano. But it was in the wrong venue, wrong area, wrong place. Hey, credit for thinking outside the box, but guess what? A fight doesn't sizzle unless it's in the right venue and it has, look, guys, for every event, be it football, be it basketball, baseball, and boxing is no exception. The fans make the event. Look at AJ versus Dubois. A fucking mismatch. Pardon my French. And guess what? It was a big time event that sizzled. Because not only the competing fighters, they took risks, plenty of them, but 90,000 fans, guys. That Jake Paul, Mike Tyson event was spectacular because of the 72,000 and then the 60 million watching around the world. That was a big time event. But unfortunately, it was way too much to ask of Mike Tyson. Now, going back to Latino night. Yeah, I'd love to see another one. I thought it was a tremendous fight. Oscar Duarte, he's an interesting fighter. He's very good at cutting off the ring and closing the distance. but he just doesn't throw enough damn punches. He just doesn't let his hands go. And once again, he's a product of trying to load up. He's a guy who, and Emmanuel Stewart taught me this. He called it the fighter's triangle, right? I call it the Emmanuel Stewart triangle. He would draw a triangle on the chalkboard or the blackboard. And on every point of the triangle, he would write volume, power, and speed. And he would insist, if you combine two of those, you sacrifice one. And he was right. Oscar Duarte is a guy who combines speed with power, but he sacrifices volume. That's a problem. That's why I thought he lost the fight. Akhmedov, boy, I want to see him in the ring again. It's a damn shame he's not a ticket seller. But how do you make these guys and turn them into ticket sellers? One, you have to keep them active. And two, gosh, you've got to put him in the right area. There's no reason why these guys should have been fighting in Saudi Arabia. Who the hell cares in Saudi Arabia? Are they going to build a fan base fighting in Saudi Arabia? No. That was the only thing missing from this fight card. Otherwise, it was absolutely brilliant. But without any fans. It's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the woods and no one is there to hear it, did it actually happen? Right? That's why we stress the business of boxing on this show, guys. Because we saw something that was potentially very special on Saturday. A brilliant fight card in which everyone did their job perfectly. The matchmaking was impeccable. Every competing fighter brought it. And no one was there to see it. Not live or not abroad. Compare that to the farce that we saw on Friday. And that's what's wrong with the business of boxing. That's what's wrong with the business of boxing, guys. But going back to the fight. So what do you guys think? Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Also, going forward to the main event of the evening. And guys, look, I'm going to just spend a little bit of time talking about Jose Ramirez versus Arnold Barboza. Arnold Barboza apparently had a bone to pick with the WBO because he didn't pay the sanctioning fees. And even though he won the fight convincingly, he didn't make a strong case for attracting new fans. That was the most disappointing fight on the card. Because as most people were expecting a war and a lot of fireworks, Arnold Barboza turned it into an exhibition of boxing technical proficiency. And as much as that wins fights, doesn't do a whole lot to capture the imagination of fight fans. It doesn't get them excited. And Jose Ramirez just, he just doesn't, he's just not on that level any longer. He's been in way too many wars. And he is on the back nine, as our brother Rick Glazier would say. He's on the back nine of his career. Definitively. Welcome to the show, Michael. Well, I don't know if he's done. He's going to be in more fights, but at that level, yeah. Think about the title holders. I forgot to say, I was on Friday night. I joined my friend Ryan from Boxing Gems. I joined him through some of that broadcast. And I mentioned on the air, that they were making a fight at 140, PBC, Rayo Valenzuela versus Gary Antoine Russell, that they're making that for one of the upcoming pay-per-views, preferably the Tank Davis card. So, guys, be on the lookout for that. But think about this. Jose Ramirez, does he have a chance to compete and make it competitive against any of the current title holders at 140? I don't think so. He's not done, but I think he's done competing at the elite level. Thank you for your comment, Michael, and it's good to see you, brother. Oh, boy, and here we go. This is a perfect segue, guys, because I am absolutely gushing over the gritty and masterful performance of a very not so defensively responsible Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. But, you know, Don Chargan once taught me, hey, if you put a good fighter in the ring with a bad fighter, it always results in a bad fight. And if you put a bad fighter in with another bad fighter, almost always will it result in a shockingly entertaining and great fight. But I'm not calling him a bad fighter. Zurdo really impressed me. But pound for pound, no. He's got too many defensive liabilities. But I tell you what, that's not a bad thing. When you're talking about raising awareness and attracting eyeballs to your product, guys, casual and mainstream fight fans, they want to see a lot of fight in their fights. And when Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez fights, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get all action from start to finish. With his beard, with his punch output, and with his growing ring IQ, he's can't miss TV. If promoted correctly in the States, now you got to put him in Texas or California or Nevada. Because in Saudi Arabia, he's not raising the kind of awareness that he should. This guy is all action. And he put forth a brilliant performance. Brilliantly stepping around Chris Billiam Smith. Boy, I tell you what, he is a warrior too, Chris Billiam Smith. He took a ton of punishment. And I mean a ton of punishment. And after the first two rounds, I gave Chris Billiam Smith the first two rounds. Because Gilberto was just, I can tell he wanted to make the first round a feeling out round. But when Chris Billiam Smith just started landing that hard leather, he was like, okay, wake up. I'm in a fight. And as soon as Zurdo made the appropriate adjustment, and it was the key to winning that fight, was that front foot placement. Consistently stepping around Chris Smith. And I was shocked that Chris Billiam Smith hadn't prepared for that. Because he never made the adjustment. He never made that adjustment. And that's how you can always tell who the elite are in any division. The adjustments they make during the fight. Chris Smith, and I was shocked because his trainer is Shane McGuigan, a great trainer. But once Zurdo made that adjustment and would rattle off a quick combination of and guys, if you watch his combination punching, it was a lot more creative than it has been in the past. Mixing it up from body, head, body. He would rattle off a 2-3 punch combination and then quickly step around him, forcing Chris Billiam Smith to reset where he couldn't counter effectively. Now, where Zurdo really has to improve is taking that incoming When someone is assertive and gets off first, he's there to be hit. But man, he's got a super chin. Like after the fight, I was shocked. He looked like he didn't have a scratch on him. But Chris, holy shit, he looked like he had been in a war, man, because he had. But Zurdo Ramirez, not only did he prove his toughness, prove his stature as an elite of the cruiserweight division, but man, dude, he puts forth a show. Honestly, bring on Jayo Pataya. I cannot wait to see that fight. That is going to be a barn burner for sure. And I don't know if Jayo Pataya can handle that volume. I loved it. I thought it was a star-making performance. Unfortunately, you have to put it in front of fans for it to be that way. And it's the most perplexing thing, guys. Now, look, I'm going to say this, Treetop. In terms of ability, he is light years away from Tank Davis. But in terms of resume and just spectacular, entertaining fights, he is light years ahead of Tank Davis. But in terms of ability, no. Tank Davis is a complete fighter. And honestly, this is why you don't see anyone really calling out Tank Davis at lightweight. Everyone's calling out Shakur Stevenson. Everyone's calling out the other title holder. Everyone's calling out Lomachenko. Everyone's calling out, I can't even think his name. They call him the IBF title holder. Or I mean the WBO title holder. The Ukrainian. No one's calling out Tank Davis. Who is calling out Tank Davis? Maybe Shakur? Welcome to the show, Low Clarity. It's good to see you, my friend. You think Zurdo gives Jai a good fight? Look, with his chin, with his output, and his ability to fight in the pocket, Jai has never faced an opponent like that. Once again, man, he makes it a numbers game, and he's got the chin to back it up. Let me ask you guys something. Have you ever seen Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez hurt, even against Dimitri Bivol? And guys, if you guys are looking at the Dimitri Bivol fight, he killed himself to make 75. And as a result, it affected his output. In my opinion, I would love to see that Bivol fight again at cruiserweight. Bring him on. That's a great, and I think it's a much more competitive fight. Guys, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, I have to say, after seeing him and that beautiful presentation, performance, that exhibition, all of it, I think he's graduated to the big time. And you have to be excited if you're a Golden Boy, if you're a one of the brass at Golden Boy Promotions. Now, what they have to do now is start putting him in front of the right fan base. Guys, can you imagine if Zurdo Ramirez versus Chris Williams-Smith? Can you imagine if that were on the undercard or in the co-main event of Mike Tyson, Jake Paul? Guys, that's all casual and mainstream fans would be talking about right now. But once again, when have you ever seen Jayo Pataya faced with that kind of fighter, a guy who's going to force the fight on the inside, close the distance, and throw that many punches intelligently to the body, head, body, and change and give you those kind of angles, step around you every time he fires off a combination, and with that kind of chin. I want to see it. I want to see it, guys. Sign it up. That's the fight to make at cruiserweight. And he was the big winner of this weekend. He was the big winner. Zurdo Ramirez graduated to the elite. And he put forth a brilliant performance. Now, does he still get hit too much? Yeah. Does he still have some defensive deficiencies? Yeah. But that's what makes him must-see TV. And honestly, if I'm Golden Boy, I would tell him don't change a damn thing. Because as soon as we actually start building him into the attraction he needs to be, oh my gosh, man, he's gonna be huge. Because he's fun. He's like, honestly, I love the way Zurdo actually speaks English. It's audible and you can understand what he's saying, but it's still broken enough where it's entertaining and kind of charming, right? So if you're doing, like, I'm a former PR guy, and if you're looking at all the different intangibles that you need to help create a big time attraction, he's got them all. Good looking fighter, fun in the ring, has a good personality. What's there not to like? But you have to put him in front of people. That's it. But I myself, and once again, we're going to get, as soon as he gets back in the States, I'm very good friends with his publicist, Bob Trieger. And we're going to get Zurdo Ramirez on the show next week, guys. I can guarantee you that. And you'll find out what an entertaining personality he has. Because I've spoken to him several times, and he's a really cool guy. And he surprisingly enough, he talks a lot of shit off the air. I'm going to try to see if he opens up and does the same for our show, right? So there it is, guys. And hopefully we can get him on the show next week. And yeah, it'll be no problem. I've got a very good relationship with his publicist, Bob Trieger. Tank does not fight enough and it's going to haunt him soon. Yep. It already has, guys. He's not getting any younger. And look, this is what happens when you want adopt that idiotic. And it's not idiotic. It's very intelligent if you're a prize fighter, but it's not good for the fans and it's not good for the health of the sport. When you consistently demand way too much money. Once again, he's basing his current demands off of the monetary success of the Ryan Garcia pay-per-view. That's the reason why the Lomachenko fight didn't happen. And that's the reason why this Lamont Roach fight was canceled. When you expect somewhere around $15 million per fight, you better have a suitable dance partner. Otherwise, you're putting PBC in a position where they can't make money. And if you can't make money, what the hell are you doing it for? I'm sorry, like fighters like Tank really piss me off. Because in his mind, and a lot of fighters are this way now, they think they're the ones who deserve to make all of the money, and everyone else should be just running a charity and doing it out of the kindness of their own hearts. It's not sustainable. And fighters need to wake up and listen to the very intelligent people around them. Otherwise, they're going to run their careers into the freaking ground. Yeah, so you've got the beat, brother. Good observation, Michael. And thank you for joining us once again. T. Sanders, welcome to the show, sir. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for your thoughts always, Joe. What are your thoughts on Tyson Cheeks hanging out on live TV? I talked about that earlier, guys. Look, I'll say it again for those of you who didn't catch the beginning. Everyone in this business knows, understands that Mike Tyson doesn't wear socks and doesn't wear underwear in his fights. And he was very comfortable because his son was interviewing him and didn't think the producers were dumb enough and didn't know that Mike Tyson walks around al fresco in the back with only a jockstrap and his cup. Treetop, Zurdo, Virgil, and Ryan, all in one card in California, Texas. Yes, you've got the beat. That would be straight fire. Yes, sir. It was also good to see Virgil Ortiz live on location as part of that event. And obviously he wasn't fighting, but talking about his upcoming opponents, right? He's in a bit of a quandary, though. He is also not a huge ticket seller, and he is considered by most, even after his war with W.A.W, in which he showed a lot of liability. Even after that, he's still viewed as too much risk for the reward by most at 54 or 47. That's a real problem for Golden Boy. Michael Shaw. Will fighters take a cut and pay to stay sharp? Look, it's been my experience, and we say this all the time, guys, on the show. When you pay fighters inflated purses that far exceed their market value, it never ends well for the health of the sport. It makes it virtually impossible to put together the best matchups. And these guys don't want to go backwards. Look at Andy Ruiz as an example. These assholes would rather stay on the bench than to take a cut and pay. Oh, I risk my life. And you know what? Then you know what? Go save your life on the bench. We don't need you. Stay away. Being naked in front of your son is even crazy. Well, look. I'm sure his son is used to seeing him in the locker room. But yeah, kind of creepy. It's funny, man. I tell you what, I love you guys, man. And my apologies for not going live on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But yeah, I wanted to take a little break to celebrate my birthday, which was yesterday. And no, I'm not going to disclose my age. I'm old enough, guys. I sound a lot younger than I actually am. Although due to allergy season here in South Texas, I'm not sounding that young anyway. But yes, I celebrated my birthday on Saturday with my family. So there it is. But guys, I really missed all of you guys. And so tonight we have a big time show coming up with the one and only James Lights Out Gogi, who's got a lot to discuss. And I just wanted to nip it in the bud and give you my thoughts about everything that transpired this weekend, the big losers, the big winners, so I could get that out of the way and take a back seat and be the host for the real stars of this channel, James Gogi and Rick Glazier, who will be on back to back this evening. So guys, please stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming up later this evening when Gogi gets out of the gym and when Rick Glazier's finished watching Monday Night Football. But guys, what are your thoughts? Did I skip anything? Did I fail to cover anything important that happened this weekend? Is there anything while we're still on the air together? Is there anything I missed and anything that you'd like me to cover? Love you guys. I tell you what, that was my sister and my brother. They passed by while I was doing my show on the patio. I love them, and they were so kind. They were I thought my family had forgotten my birthday. And they came by my house and surprised me with a bunch of goodies. A cake, Indian food, and Starbucks coffee. Tell you what, it was glorious. And yeah, I was very, very touched. And because look, most of the time I don't even celebrate my birthday at all. It's just another day for me. And that's what happens when you become a dad or become just a grown man, right? It's like, do you really look forward to being a year older? But I have to tell you guys, it was really special. And I just want to give a shout out to my family. I love them so much. And I couldn't do any of this without the support of my family. So shout out to the Herons. Love you guys. But yeah, we're gonna be visiting. Let me while I'm on here, right? Look, and a lot of people who are giving Jake Paul grief right now. I'll touch on this because I just saw this on Boxing News 24. A lot of people are giving Jake Paul grief on not being on that level. Oh man, he should have. Man, he should have. He looked terrible against Mike Tyson. He should have gotten that old man out of there. Look, he carried him. He carried him. He admitted as much as well. Did he do the right thing? Yes, he did. Because trust me, the backlash of his performance would have been far worse had he put his foot on the gas and starched an old man. And that would have been far worse for the health of the sport as a result. And so my hat's off to Jake Paul for doing the noble thing and carrying the old man. I thought he made the right call. Guys, and also don't forget, we look forward to the press conference on Tuesday announcing David Morrell Jr. versus David Benavidez. And so we may have to schedule the Ronnie Shields show on Tuesday with Big James from the Boxing Source. We might have to schedule it at an earlier or later time to cater to the big time PBC press conference. And this is a big deal, guys. Once again, I know many of you, like me, we don't necessarily agree with the decisions that Al Heyman has made for the sport of boxing. And it's been largely a detriment to the health of the sport. And it's paying inflated purses. Once again, we're still seeing and feeling the pain from that. But I myself have been praying for Al Heyman, and it seems to have done the trick, the collective prayer from everyone who loves boxing. So thank you for that, because He's now out of hot or dangerous water. And he is now organizing and calling people and he's going to be staging these events. And we're going to see a much busier 2025 from PBC. And that can only be a good thing for the health of the sport in the American market. And yeah, we want to, so that's a good thing. He is out of harm's way. Now he is still going to be bedridden for a while because he suffered a stroke. But now he can talk, and now he's talking to everyone and making plans. So that's a good thing. Keep on kicking it, Al. Oh, boy, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see also if Chris Billiam Smith can come back from a brutal ass whooping like that against Zurdo Ramirez. That guy's a warrior. And look, I'm going to say this, and I just saw this headline on Boxing News 24. Arthur Beterbiev offers Jake Paul a title shot. Guys, come on. That's Arthur, come on. I know that didn't come from him. That came from his promoter. Because Arthur doesn't give a shit. He doesn't even watch boxing. It's kind of a running joke in their gym, according to Iceman John Scully. Because Arthur Beterbiev is one of the best fighters on the planet. But he doesn't even watch boxing. He doesn't even keep up with anything that's going on in the world of boxing. He just happens to be really good at it. And look, I'll say this. William Zepeda, brother, take this as a learning experience. Go back to the drawing board. And honestly, if I'm the Golden Boy Brass, once again, I'd put him in the ring with Floyd Schofield. It's sink or swim time for both fighters. It's sink or swim. If you want a promoter and a network to invest millions in your future, you've got to show them something. You've got to show them something, or else what's the point? Because at this time, neither guy can beat any of the current fighters. And I'm including Baranchik. There it is. Let's just face it, guys. William Zepeda would get decapitated by Tank Davis. He would get mopped up by Shakur Stevenson. He would get embarrassed. And Baranchik would probably give him a boxing lesson as well. And that's the same for Floyd Schofield. So once again, that's the last I'm going to say today. I'm going to save my voice because I got a big 2-hour show coming up with both Rick Glazier and James Gogi later this evening. Not sure about the time yet, but guys, make plans for that. I'm assuming it's going to take place, though, after Monday Night Football. So please remember to tune in tonight because you don't want to miss everything that Coach Gogi has to say about this past weekend. Yeah. Well, it's always a joy, and we're all very fortunate to be able to spend time with Coach Gogi. Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Yep. And happy Thanksgiving to you, brother. Thank you, man. I hope everyone, appreciates and gives thanks to everything that we have, guys. And look, boxing, it's become a fringe commodity in the American market. And look how many fights that we've seen, great fights that we've seen this year. We as boxing fans have a lot to give thanks to. And you know how I roll, guys. On this channel, we give all thanks and praise and all glory and honor to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Jesus. Guys, don't forget to give thanks for all the blessings that you guys receive on the daily. Right? And also be remorseful for all of your sinfulness, because let's face it, we all fall short of God's grace. and God's glory. So don't forget to repent, ask for forgiveness, and accept God's grace and walk in spirit. Stay close to Jesus, guys, and your life will show the fruits of the Spirit. And that's about it, guys, for this afternoon. I want to thank you all for joining me on this very special marquee or matinee edition of War Week Boxing. God bless all of you guys, and thank you for hanging with me, my extended family. And once again, guys, if you want to donate to the Roshi Tour Fund, please visit $WA.W. And please subscribe to my latest channel, or not my latest, but my new channel, God's Perfect Love. And once again, I want to thank all of you who already have subscribed for pushing me over the 800 subscriber mark in just 2.5 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. God bless all of you. And once again, don't always choose to walk in spirit, not the natural. And don't forget to tune in to Gogi and Rick Glazier this evening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
W.A.W presents Big Time Boxing USA on War of Week Radio.